Tamar Braxton just exposed something that Toni never wanted the world to know: her secret marriage to Birdman, and the shocking fallout that followed just 48 hours later. It's the kind of reveal that forces you to rethink everything you thought you knew about the Braxton family. According to verified court documents, Toni Braxton and Birdman got married quietly under the radar using just their initials, TB and BW, to avoid public attention. But within 2 days, they were already separated. 2 weeks later, a divorce petition was filed, only for Toni to dismiss it in early 2025, raising even more questions. All of this chaos happened with barely a word from the family. But while the public was left guessing, it was Tamar who started hinting at the truth. She didn't just speak on the marriage, she pointed to deeper dysfunction, financial stress, family division, and Toni's silent suffering. Tamar made it clear that behind the smiles and red carpets, there was pain, resentment, and a woman pushed to her emotional and financial limits. This story isn't just tabloid drama, it's a look inside the reality of what it means to carry an entire family while quietly falling apart. Tamar's honesty cracked open the facade, and the deeper you look, the more this secret marriage seems less like a fairy tale and more like a last resort. As we unravel the layers, we'll expose the emotional toll, the financial unraveling, and how this one decision changed the family forever. Keep watching, because what's coming next might change how you see Toni Braxton for good. It wasn't just sudden, it was practically hidden in plain sight. Fans were still celebrating Toni and Birdman's engagement when whispers of a secret wedding started making rounds online, but no one saw the real twist coming: a marriage that lasted just 48 hours. According to court filings obtained by multiple outlets, Toni Braxton and Birdman quietly tied the knot on August 8, 2024, using only their initials, likely to avoid media attention. But 2 days later, they had already separated. Just like that, then came the divorce filing on August 22nd, which labeled the marriage irretrievably broken. Still, in a shocking turn, that same divorce petition was voluntarily withdrawn just months later. What really fueled speculation was that neither of them spoke publicly about it. Birdman wiped Toni from his social media, while Toni posted a vague caption about starting a new chapter. Tamar, however, was reportedly aware of the chaos, and sources say she was both worried and frustrated. The secrecy didn't just feel strange, it felt strategic. A quickie wedding, an even quicker separation, and a withdrawn divorce. It all felt like more than just personal drama. It felt like something Toni didn't want the world to see. Was it love? Was it a financial arrangement? Or was it a decision made under pressure? When Tamar started speaking out about the burdens Toni carried, fans began piecing it together. This wasn't just a bad romance. This may have been a quiet cry for help disguised as a wedding ring. When Tamar Braxton opened up, she didn't just spill family tea, she exposed the cold truth behind Toni's silent suffering. Her words made it clear, Toni was struggling, and her sisters weren't helping. Tamar said that she was the only one supporting their mother financially when Toni couldn't. She described moments when their mom's car insurance was due or basic needs weren't being met, and no one but her stepped up. Toni was covering everything while sick, working, and still being asked by Trina and Tawanda to pay them salaries. Tamar even admitted she was shocked that Tawanda wanted to be paid just for working as an assistant, while Tamar herself helped with shows and never charged a dime. These weren't rumors, they were Tamar's personal frustrations finally boiling over. Tamar didn't just defend her sister, she revealed a pattern of neglect within the family. Toni had been the backbone for years, yet no one was holding her up when she needed it most. That kind of pressure breaks people down. When fans look back at Toni's quiet wedding and sudden separation from Birdman, it starts to feel like more than relationship drama. It feels like a woman trying to escape the weight of being everyone's provider. Most celebrities go broke from overspending, but in Toni Braxton's case, the real reason was shocking and heartbreaking. Toni filed for bankruptcy twice. The first time, she had just sold millions of records but was barely earning anything. Despite moving over 70 million albums and making her label millions, she got less than $2,000 in royalties. She even had to pay the label back for everything, from wardrobe to travel. It was a financial trap. Years later, she declared bankruptcy again, but this time it was because of her health. Diagnosed with lupus, Toni had to cancel her Las Vegas show. Insurance wouldn't cover the losses, so she had to pay the entire bill herself. Millions in production costs gone. Toni wasn't reckless, she was exploited. And with her body gave out, so did her finances. With no help from her record label and very little support from her own family, she found herself cornered. This made her connection with Birdman even more complicated. Was he a safe place, or just her only option? Tamar's exposure of the family divide added new layers to the story. It showed that behind Toni's smile was a woman isolated by fame, illness, and responsibility. Before we keep going, there's something you should know. This channel just hit 480 subscribers, and I'm incredibly grateful for every single one. But here's the wild part. Over 99% of viewers still aren't subscribed. That means most people who watch never hit that subscribe button, even though it makes a huge difference. If you've been enjoying these deep dives into celebrity secrets and family drama, subscribing is the best way to support the channel. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and your one click can help us get there faster. Let's grow this together. Thank you for watching, and now back to the video. How does someone with Grammys, chart-topping hits, and 70 million albums sold end up bankrupt twice? The answer reveals just how cruel the music industry can be. Toni Braxton wasn't just successful, she was legendary. Her debut album topped the Billboard 200, and singles like Unbreak My Heart became global anthems. But behind the scenes, her contracts were full of traps. While fans saw the lights, dancers, and luxury, Toni was paying for all of it herself. Everything from hotel rooms to music videos came out of her own pocket. Her label reaped the profits, while she was left scrambling. She eventually filed a lawsuit against them and won, sort of. By then, the damage was already done. She had already drained her finances just trying to look like the star she was. Toni's story is a cautionary tale about how fame doesn't always come with fortune. She was being celebrated while simultaneously being exploited. No one from the outside world stepped in, and neither did most of her family. Tamar seemed to be the only one calling it out. When Toni's financial reality finally came to light, it helped fans understand why she might accept a quiet marriage, or why she'd stay silent through public embarrassment. Maybe she didn't see it as a romance, but as a lifeline she didn't feel she could afford to lose. The deeper the money problems went, the more cracks formed between the Braxton sisters, and Tamar, she was done staying quiet. According to Tamar, she never charged Toni for background singing or helping with performances, but her sisters did. Trina and Tawanda reportedly asked for payments, salaries, and compensation, even while Toni was struggling to pay the bills at home and support their mother. Tamar admitted she was furious when she learned Tawanda expected to be paid just for assisting Toni. She couldn't believe her sisters were adding pressure instead of relieving it. Meanwhile, Tamar herself was helping out with housework and paying for things quietly, without demanding credit or payment. What Tamar exposed wasn't just about money, it was about respect. Toni was paying everyone's way and still getting charged by her own blood. It was a betrayal that played out behind closed doors until Tamar made it public. And when you look at that dynamic, it's no wonder Toni was searching for peace anywhere she could find it. Whether that came in the form of Birdman or silence, she clearly needed something, anything, that didn't come with a price tag attached. While everyone focused on Toni's career and family drama, few noticed her health quietly unraveling in the background. But Tamar did, and what she hinted at was heartbreaking. Toni was diagnosed with lupus, an autoimmune disease that attacks the body's organs. The stress of touring, supporting her entire family, and fighting lawsuits had taken a toll. At one point, she had to cancel a major Las Vegas residency, which left her millions in debt because insurance didn't cover the losses. Behind the scenes, Tamar began to suggest that Toni's body was breaking down under the pressure, not just from illness, but from emotional exhaustion. Tamar even pointed to the weight of being the family's provider as a possible trigger for Toni's health crisis. It wasn't just about lupus, it was about burnout, neglect, and carrying too much for too long. Tamar's comments made it clear. Toni wasn't just sick, she was overwhelmed, unsupported, and suffering in silence. Fans often saw her grace and poise on stage, but they never saw the breakdowns backstage. The more pressure that piled on, the more desperate Toni's decision started to look. That secret marriage to Birdman? It might have been one of the few moments she tried to choose herself, even if it was only for a couple of days. To the public, Birdman and Toni seemed like an odd match, but to Toni, he may have felt like something she haven't had in years: safety. Birdman wasn't just a rapper with a flashy reputation, he was someone Toni called her best friend for over 15 years. He showed up to her baby showers, her shows, even her hospital visits. In interviews, Toni admitted that with Birdman, she didn't have to fake strength. He saw through her performance and cared about her well-being. He reportedly told her it was okay to not always be Wonder Woman, especially when she was battling lupus flare-ups. For a woman who'd spent decades carrying everyone else, that was rare. But even with all that emotional support, their relationship seemed off. From the missed wedding dates to the lack of family unity, something was always pulling them apart. And Tamar, although quiet publicly, seemed to distance herself from the whole relationship. Birdman might have been Toni's emotional anchor, or he might have been her only available option. After everything she endured, exploitation, illness, and family betrayal, he was the one person offering consistency. But love built on survival rarely lasts. The fact that their marriage lasted just 2 days before separation makes you wonder, was Toni trying to escape something? Or was she just too broken to stay? The moment Toni Braxton reported her $1 million engagement ring as stolen, fans couldn't help but raise their eyebrows. After everything she'd been through, this latest twist didn't just sound suspicious, it felt like a warning sign. The ring was supposedly left in Toni's checked luggage during a flight, an odd choice for someone with that kind of jewelry. When it mysteriously vanished, the timing couldn't have been worse. Just days later, Birdman deleted every trace of Toni from his Instagram. Around the same time, he posted a single cryptic message: "It's over." Toni, in turn, posted a glam photo with the caption, "Starting a new chapter." Still, neither of them addressed the breakup directly. What followed was even more confusing. Court documents revealed they had secretly married using only their initials, TB and BW, on August 8th. But they separated just 2 days later, and Toni filed for divorce on August 22nd. Then, in a bizarre twist, she withdrew the filing in January 2025. Rumors exploded. Was the marriage even real? Was the ring loss a cover story for financial issues? Was it all orchestrated to protect assets or avoid scrutiny? When you lay it all out, the sudden marriage, the missing ring, the cryptic social media moves, it's hard not to wonder if the wedding was less about love and more about survival. Some fans think Toni was trying to shield herself from creditors or legal fallout. Others believe she genuinely hoped Birdman would rescue her from the chaos. Either way, the pattern is undeniable. Every major decision Toni made came after being pushed to the edge, and Tamar's silence on the matter, that might have spoken louder than any post ever could. Tamar Braxton's honesty didn't just pull back the curtain, it exposed an emotional battlefield. But the real question we're left with isn't about Birdman or bankruptcy. It's this: did Toni Braxton ever get the chance to live for herself? Looking at everything Toni endured, financial betrayal, health battles, and being treated like a bank account by the very people she supported, it's clear she was more than just a superstar. She was a survivor. The two bankruptcies weren't about bad spending habits. They were about being drained by a system and a family that leaned on her too heavily. Tamar's revelations weren't meant to tear the family down. They were a desperate attempt to shine a light on how isolated Toni truly is. Even her short-lived marriage to Birdman, while confusing, ties into a larger pattern: a woman looking for relief, even if only for a moment. Maybe she thought marriage would provide that stability. Maybe it was just about feeling love for once without strings attached. But the fact that it unraveled in 48 hours speaks volumes. In the end, what Tamar exposed wasn't just a marriage or a bank statement, it was a legacy of pressure. Toni Braxton was a woman the world applauded but didn't protect. And when the weight became too much, she made a decision that still confuses fans to this day. Was it love? Was it strategy? Or was it simply survival? One thing's for sure, Tamar's truth-telling gave us a rare look into a family where fame and responsibility blurred the lines and forced one woman to carry it all.